Status of the mining colony on Proxima B? Diana asked, though she dreaded the answer. Commander Raj Patel's voice was tight with tension. Still no response, Captain. All communications remain dark. The bridge crew of the Sentinel held their breath. This was the third colony to go silent in the past week. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore, despite the Kryvax ambassador's continued assurances of peace and cooperation. Launch the stealth probes, Diana ordered. I want eyes on that colony. As the probes silently deployed from the Sentinel's hull, Diana reflected on the warning they'd received from Dr. Yuki Tanaka just days before she disappeared from the Jupiter research station. Her final transmission had been scrambled, but one phrase had come through clearly. They're not here to help us. The main view screen flickered to life as the probes reached their destination. Horror swept through the bridge as the images clarified. Where the thriving mining colony had once stood, only twisted metal and destruction remained. But it was the massive structure looming over the devastation that turned Diana's blood to ice. A Kryvax harvesting facility, already processing the colony's resources and people for their war machine. Battle stations, Diana commanded, her voice cutting through the shocked silence. And get me a quantum channel to Earth Command. They need to know the truth. The Sentinel's klaxons blared as the crew scrambled to their positions. Diana knew they were outgunned, but humanity had survived worse odds before. As her ship's systems powered up for combat, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the observation window. The same determined expression her grandmother had worn in photos from the climate wars of the 2040s. Humanity had rebuilt from those ashes. They would survive this too. Multiple Kryvax vessels emerging from hyperspace. Lieutenant Thao's voice cracked with urgency. 7. No, 12 ships. Diana's mind raced through their options. The Sentinel was the most advanced ship in Earth's fleet, but it wasn't designed for this kind of confrontation. They needed to warn Earth, but more importantly, they needed proof of the Kryvax betrayal. Initiate Protocol Shadowfall, she ordered. Lieutenant Thao, prepare to broadcast everything we've discovered on all frequencies. Commander Patel, plot us a course through their line. We're going to give them something to chase. The Sentinel's experimental quantum drive hummed to life as Diana implemented the strategy she'd hoped she'd never need to use. Years of studying historical naval battles hadn't been wasted. She knew that sometimes the best defense was a carefully planned retreat. They're powering up weapons, Commander Patel reported. Hold course, Diana commanded. Wait for my mark. The first Kryvax energy beam sliced through space where the Sentinel had been moments before. Diana's ship danced through the barrage, its advanced maneuverability systems pushed to their limits. Each near miss illuminated the bridge in ghostly purple light. Broadcast initiated, Thao confirmed. Data packets are away. Diana allowed herself a grim smile. Now, Commander Patel, show them why they call this ship the Sentinel. The ship's quantum drive engaged, but not in the way the Kryvax expected. Instead of fleeing, the Sentinel executed a complex series of micro-jumps, each one lasting less than a second. To the Kryvax sensors, it would appear as if the human vessel was in multiple places simultaneously. The confusion bought them precious seconds, seconds they used to gather more evidence of the Kryvax treachery and broadcast it across every frequency they could access. Diana knew that somewhere in the cosmos, someone would hear their warning. Multiple hits on decks 3 through 7. The damage control officer's voice was steady despite the chaos. Shields at 40%. Diana gripped her command chair as another blast rocked the ship. Status of the broadcast. Confirmed reception at 3 Earth outposts, Thao reported. They know, Captain. They know what's coming. A massive explosion lit up the void as one of the Kryvax ships fired its main weapon. The blast caught the Sentinel's port side, sending the ship into a controlled spin. Warning lights flooded the bridge as systems began to fail. Hull breach on Deck 5. Emergency containment holding. Diana's mind raced through their options. They'd achieved their primary objective. Earth would be warned. Now they needed to survive to fight another day. "All hands, prepare for emergency quantum jump," she announced over the ship-wide comm. "Commander Patel, execute scatter protocol Omega on my mark." The Sentinel's engines screamed in protest as they prepared for one final desperate maneuver. Diana had drilled her crew for this possibility, though she'd prayed they'd never need it. The ship's quantum core would be pushed beyond its safety limits, scattering their quantum signature across several light years. It was dangerous, experimental, and their only hope for survival. "Kryvax vessels moving to surround us," Thao reported, his voice tense but professional. Diana took one last look at the massive alien ships closing in around them. They were beautiful in their terrible way, their crystalline hulls reflecting the light of Proxima Centauri. This wouldn't be humanity's last stand. She would make sure of that. Mark. The universe seemed to hold its breath for a moment before the Sentinel vanished in a flash of quantum energy, leaving the Kryvax fleet firing at empty space. As the ship hurtled through the quantum realm, Diana knew that the real war was just beginning. Humanity would need every scrap of courage, innovation, and determination they could muster to survive what was coming. But first, they needed to make it home. 3 months after the Sentinel's warning, Earth had transformed from a thriving interstellar civilization into a planet under siege. The Kryvax attacks had been swift and devastating, but humanity refused to bow. Deep beneath the ruins of Tokyo, Admiral Marcus Torres stood before a holographic display of Earth's remaining defenses, his dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of tactical readouts. "The quantum signature analysis is complete," reported Dr. Isabella Reyes, her hands moving through the holographic data like a conductor leading an orchestra. The former quantum physicist had become the Resistance's greatest hope, working tirelessly to understand Kryvax technology. The Sentinel's final transmission contained more than just a warning. Captain Winters encrypted something in the quantum wake of their jump. Marcus leaned forward, the scars from recent battles visible on his weathered face. "Can you decode it?" "Already have." Isabella's eyes sparkled with the first real hope anyone had seen in months. "It's the frequency signature of their shield harmonics." Captain Winters found their weakness. The underground command center buzzed with renewed energy. For the first time since the invasion began, they had something concrete to work with. The remaining military and scientific personnel gathered around the central holodeble as Isabella explained her findings. "The Kryvax shields operate on a quantum frequency we never thought possible," she continued. "But they're not invincible. They have to maintain a specific resonance to function. Disrupt that resonance, and their defenses fall," Marcus finished. He straightened, his commanding presence drawing all eyes. "What do you need to make this work?" "Time and resources we don't have," Isabella admitted. "But I have an idea. The old CERN facility in Europe, if it's still intact, we could modify the particle accelerator to generate the frequency we need." Marcus nodded grimly. "Europe is under heavy Kryvax control. Getting there won't be easy." "Nothing worth doing ever is," came a new voice. Kai Zhao stepped from the shadows, his cybernetic eye glowing faintly in the dim light. The former special operations officer had lost half his face defending Singapore, but his spirit remained unbroken. "My team can get Dr. Reyes to CERN." The Admiral studied the tactical display. The Kryvax had established massive harvesting facilities across every continent, systematically stripping Earth of its resources and population. Their crystalline ships hung in low orbit like predators waiting to strike, but they had grown complacent in their apparent victory. "We'll need a distraction," Kai continued, his organic eye gleaming with tactical possibilities. "Something big enough to draw their attention away from Europe." "I think I can help with that," said Commander Fatima Al-Rashid, stepping forward. The commander of Earth's last functional submarine fleet had been running guerrilla operations in the Indian Ocean for months. "My subs can launch a coordinated strike on their Pacific harvesting facilities. We've been mapping their patterns, waiting for the right moment." Marcus considered the pieces falling into place. It was risky, They'd be committing most of their remaining military assets to this operation, but the alternative was slow extinction. "How long would you need at Sea Yarn?" he asked Isabella. 48 hours, minimum, assuming the facility isn't too damaged and the power systems are intact. "You'll have it," Kai promised, his cybernetic eye weird as it processed tactical scenarios. "My team can hold off ground forces that long." The planning continued through the night. As the others worked out the details, Marcus stepped away to a private communication terminal. The quantum-encrypted channel took several minutes to establish, but finally, a familiar face appeared on the screen. "Diana," he said softly, relief evident in his voice. "We found your message." Captain Winters looked different, harder, more haunted. The Sentinels' desperate quantum jump had scattered them across several systems, but they had survived. "Tell me you can use it, Marcus. We're putting a plan in motion now, but we'll need your help for the final phase. Can you get the Sentinel back to Earth?" Diana's image flickered. "We've been making repairs, gathering allies. There are others out here, Marcus. Other species who've suffered under the Kryvax. They're willing to help, but they need to know humanity can strike back effectively. Then we'll give them a demonstration they won't forget." Marcus shared the details of their plan, watching Diana's expression shift from skepticism to cautious hope. "It's insane," she said finally, "but it might work. We'll be ready. Just get that frequency weapon operational." The next 48 hours would determine the fate of humanity. As Marcus returned to the command center, he found Isabella making final preparations with Kai's team. The Special Operations Unit had been augmented with the best surviving technology, cybernetic enhancements, stealth systems, and experimental weapons. "We move at dawn," Kai announced, his team gathering around him. Each member bore the scars of previous battles, but their determination was unshaken. "The Kryvax think they've broken us, that we're just scavenging in the ruins of our civilization. Time to show them how wrong they are." Commander Al-Rashid's submarines were already moving into position, their advanced stealth systems keeping them hidden from Kryvax sensors. The Resistance had spent months studying the aliens' patrol patterns, finding the gaps in their seemingly perfect defense network. As the final preparations were made, Marcus addressed the assembled forces. "What we do in the next 2 days will echo through history, either as humanity's last stand or the beginning of our comeback. Every person in this room has lost someone to the Kryvax. Every one of us has seen our world burned and broken. But we are not defeated. We are not broken. We are humanity, and today we start taking back our home." The underground chamber filled with determined voices as final orders were given and weapons checked. Isabella ran through the quantum calculations one last time while Kay's team synchronized their cybernetic systems. In orbit, the Kryvax ships continued their endless patrol, unaware that beneath the ruins of their apparent victory, humanity was about to remind the galaxy why they should never be underestimated. Dawn was approaching, and with it, the most ambitious resistance operation yet attempted. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, but for the first time since the invasion began, humanity had something more powerful than advanced technology or superior numbers. They had hope. The old CERN facility loomed before them, its massive circular structure partially concealed by overgrowth and battle damage. Isabella Reyes felt her heart race as Kai's team secured the perimeter. They had made it this far through a combination of stealth technology and precisely timed movements between Kryvax patrol cycles. "Main entrance secure," Kai reported, his cybernetic eye scanning for threats. "But we've got company incoming. Harvester drones, heading this way." Isabella's hands flew across her portable quantum terminal, interfacing with the facility's dormant systems. "The main power core is intact. We just need tow." An explosion rocked the ground nearby. Through the dust, mechanical screeching filled the air as Kryvax hunter drones descended from the gray sky. Kai's team moved with practiced precision, their augmented reflexes and experimental weapons making short work of the first wave. "Get inside," Kai ordered, his cybernetic systems interfacing with the team's tactical network. Zhang, Martinez, hold the entrance. Everyone else, push back those harvesters. Isabella raced through the underground corridors, guided by facility schematics overlaid on her augmented reality display. The particle accelerator's control room was her target. If she could restore power and modify the systems according to her calculations, they might have a chance. Admiral Torres, we've reached the facility, she reported through their quantum-encrypted channel. Beginning power-up sequence. Understood. Marcus responded from the Tokyo bunker. Commander Al-Rashid's operation is underway. You have your window, Doctor. Make it count. Across the Pacific, Fatima Al-Rashid's submarine fleet had launched their coordinated strike. Advanced torpedoes, developed from studying crashed Kryvax technology, streaked through the dark waters toward the massive harvesting facilities. The aliens had never expected an attack from beneath the waves. All units, execute attack pattern Delta, Fatima commanded from her flagship. Concentrate fire on their structural weak points. The ocean lit up with explosions as the submarines struck simultaneously, their weapons finding gaps in the Kryvax defenses. Back at CERN, Isabella worked frantically to bring the particle accelerator online. Decades-old systems groaned to life under her expert touch, modified with quantum components salvaged from Kryvax wreckage. Each minute brought more enemies. The aliens had finally realized the significance of their target. Northern perimeter breached. One of Kai's team reported. They're bringing in heavy units. Kai directed his forces with calculated precision, using the facility's architecture to funnel the aliens into killing zones. His cybernetic eye processed combat data in real time, identifying patterns and weaknesses. Hold them back. We need those 48 hours. In orbit, Captain Diana Winters and the Sentinel emerged from quantum space, leading a coalition of alien ships, refugees and rebels from other worlds conquered by the Kryvax. The battered Earth vessel had spent months gathering allies, convincing them that humanity's resistance could succeed where others had failed. All ships, battle formations, Diana commanded. Remember the plan. We keep their orbital forces occupied. Everything depends on what happens on the ground. The space battle erupted as Kryvax ships moved to engage the new threat. The Sentinel's quantum drive allowed it to appear and disappear across the battlefield, drawing enemy fire away from their allies. Diana had learned to use her ship's damaged systems to their advantage, turning unpredictable quantum fluctuations into tactical advantages. In the CERN control room, Isabella's modifications were nearly complete. The particle accelerator hummed with power, its systems reconfigured to generate the specific quantum frequency that could disrupt Kryvax shield harmonics. But the aliens were getting closer. We've got heavy units approaching the control room, Kai reported, falling back with his remaining team members. We need more time. Almost there, Isabella's fingers danced across holographic controls. The frequency modulators are aligning. We just need. A massive explosion tore through the facility's upper levels. Through the breach, a Kryvax warrior prime descended, 3 meters of crystalline armor and advanced weaponry. Kai faced it alone, his cybernetic systems pushed to their limits. Dr. Reyes, he said calmly over the comm, finish the job. Whatever happens up here, finish it. The battle that followed would be spoken of for generations. Kai's augmented abilities versus the aliens' superior technology, fought in the ruins of humanity's greatest scientific achievement. His cybernetic eye identified structural weaknesses, while his enhanced reflexes kept him just ahead of the creature's attacks. In orbit, Diana's coalition fleet engaged in a desperate battle against Kryvax forces. The Sentinel's quantum broadcasts coordinated their attacks, using tactics developed from months of studying alien warfare patterns. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. Multiple hull breaches, Lieutenant Thau reported. We can't take much more of this. We hold, Diana insisted. Everything depends on what happens in the next few minutes. Below, Isabella made the final adjustments. The particle accelerator systems were operating far beyond their design parameters, modified with quantum technology that barely existed in theoretical physics months ago. But it was working. "Admiral Torres," she called, "we're ready." Initiating quantum frequency broadcast. The massive accelerator ring pulsed with energy, generating a quantum frequency that rippled through spacetime. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a wave spreading across the planet, Kryvak's shields began to fail. "All units, attack now," Marcus ordered from Tokyo. "Hit them while they're vulnerable." Fatima's submarines launched their remaining torpedoes at the now defenseless harvesting facilities. In orbit, Diana's fleet pressed their advantage, their weapons finally finding purchase against Kryvak's hulls. Kai, battered but alive, watched through his damaged cybernetic eye as the Warrior Prime's crystalline armor cracked and shattered. The tide had turned. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had found a way to hurt their seemingly invincible enemy. But the war was far from over, and the Kryvaks would not go down without a fight. The next phase of the battle would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of all species who had suffered under Kryvak's dominion. As Isabella worked to maintain the quantum frequency broadcast, she knew they had just changed the course of the war. The only question was, what would the Kryvaks do now that they knew they were vulnerable? The Kryvaks' homeworld loomed before the combined fleet, a crystalline planet shrouded in storms of quantum energy. 6 months had passed since the breakthrough at CERN, and humanity had pushed their advantage across the galaxy. Now they prepared for their most daring operation yet. Fleet status. Diana commanded from the Sentinel's bridge, her ship now bearing the scars of 100 victories. The vessel had been extensively modified with salvaged Kryvak's technology, its quantum drive enhanced beyond its original specifications. "All ships report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Thau responded, his console displaying the positions of their vast armada. Human vessels alongside ships from 24 liberated species. The quantum frequency generators are synchronized. Isabella Reyes stood at the science station, her original breakthrough now refined into a devastating weapon. "The planet's quantum shield matrix is more complex than anything we've encountered. We'll need perfect timing." "Then it's time to call in our secret weapon," Diana smiled, opening a channel to Earth. "Admiral Torres, are you ready to make history?" In the rebuilt Tokyo Command Center, Marcus Torres stood before a massive holographic display showing their forces' positions. "Strike teams are in position. Commander Zhao, status." Kai's voice crackled through quantum space, his team already on the surface of the Kryvak's homeworld. They had infiltrated through gaps in the planetary defense grid, their cybernetic systems now augmented with crystalline tech. "We've located the central control nexus, ready to deploy the virus on your mark." The plan was audacious, perhaps insane. While the fleet engaged the Kryvak's defenses, Kai's enhanced infiltrators would upload a quantum virus designed by Isabella. If it worked, it would turn the aliens' own planetary systems against them. "All ships, battle formations," Diana ordered. "Remember, we only need to hold them for 30 minutes. Make every shot count." The space around the crystalline planet erupted in chaos as the combined fleet engaged. The Sentinel led the charge, its enhanced quantum drive allowing it to appear and disappear across the battlefield. Diana had become a legend among their allies, the captain who had first exposed the Kryvak's weakness now leading the fight to their very doorstep. On the surface, Kai's team moved through crystalline corridors, their cybernetic systems interfacing with alien technology. The Kryvaks had never expected their own quantum networks could be turned against them. Each team member carried a piece of the virus, designed to activate simultaneously across multiple access points. "Heavy resistance approaching," Kai reported, his cybernetic eye identifying multiple warrior primes. "They know we're here." "Hold position," Marcus commanded. "Wait for the signal." In orbit, the battle intensified. The Kryvaks had learned from their defeats, adapting their shield frequencies to resist disruption. But Isabella had anticipated this, her quantum generators now cycling through multiple frequencies in patterns too complex for the aliens to counter. Port shields failing. Thao called out as the Sentinel took a direct hit. Hull breach on Deck 7. Diana gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered. Reroute power from non-essential systems. Keep those quantum generators online. The battle hung in the balance when a new signal caught Isabella's attention. Her eyes widened as she processed the data. "Captain, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations from within the planet. They're not Kryvax in origin." Before Diana could respond, massive energy signatures erupted from the planet's surface. Ancient defense systems, far more advanced than anything the Kryvax possessed, sprung to life. The crystalline world itself seemed to be awakening. "All teams, hold position," Marcus ordered, recognizing the gravity of the situation. Dr. Rice. Analysis. Isabella worked frantically at her console, correlating the new data with archaeological records from liberated worlds. The Kryvax. They're not the original inhabitants of this world. They conquered it, just like they tried to conquer us. These systems, they're responding to our quantum frequencies. Understanding dawned across the command channels. The Kryvax weren't just invaders of other worlds. They were usurpers who had stolen their technology from an ancient civilization. And now, that civilization's defensive systems were recognizing humanity's quantum signatures as friendly. "Kai," Diana called. "Modify the virus. Isabella is sending new parameters. We're not going to destroy their systems. We're going to wake them up." The battle shifted as ancient planetary defenses turned against the Kryvax. Crystalline warriors found their own world's systems rejecting them, while Kai's team was guided safely through formerly sealed corridors by awakening artificial intelligences. "Uploading modified virus now," Kai reported, his cybernetic systems interfacing with technology older than human civilization. "You need to see this, Admiral. We've found their archives. The Kryvax, they're running from something. Something worse than them." Diana exchanged glances with Isabella. "Can you access their long-range sensor data?" "Incoming." Thao interrupted. Multiple quantum signatures at the edge of the system. Massive energy readings. The space around the crystalline planet lit up as new ships emerged from quantum space. Not Kryvax vessels, but something else entirely. Their design was both familiar and alien, matching the architecture of the planetary defense systems. A transmission cut through all frequencies, translated automatically by the ancient systems. "Children of Earth, you have awakened our sentinels. The Kryvax threat will be contained, but a greater darkness approaches, and we have chosen you to stand with us against it." The battle for the Kryvax homeworld had just become something far more significant. Humanity's introduction to a cosmic war they never knew existed. As Diana looked out at the massive ships now taking position around the planet, she realized that defeating the Kryvax wasn't the end of humanity's journey to the stars. It was just the beginning. The great hall of the Ancient One's citadel stretched beyond human comprehension, its crystalline walls containing the recorded history of 1,000,000 worlds. 1 month after the liberation of the Kryvax homeworld, humanity's leaders gathered here to learn the truth about their place in a vast and ancient conflict. Diana Winters stood before a quantum hologram that displayed the galaxy in its entirety, her expression grave as she absorbed the magnitude of what they faced. Beside her, Isabella Rice worked to interpret the complex data streams the Ancient Ones had shared, while Kai's cybernetic systems interfaced directly with the Citadel's archives. They called themselves the Architects, Isabella explained to the assembled leaders, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. They seeded our galaxy with the foundations of life itself, building quantum networks into the very fabric of space-time. The Kryvax didn't create their technology. They found it, corrupted it, used it to subjugate others. Admiral Torres stepped forward, his military uniform a sharp contrast to the flowing crystalline architecture. And now something drives them to desperate conquest, something that frightened a species capable of destroying worlds. The hologram shifted, showing the void between galaxies. Dark shapes moved there, barely visible even with the advanced imaging technology of the architects. The Ancient One who had introduced herself as the Guardian spoke, her form shifting between states of matter like liquid crystal. "The void beings come," she said, her thoughts translated by the Citadel systems. "They consume galaxies, break down the fundamental forces that bind reality together." The Kryvax fled their advance in another galaxy, stealing our technology in their desperation to survive. But in doing so, they may have doomed us all. How? Diana asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. The Kryvax's misuse of quantum technology has created instabilities, the Guardian explained, like ripples in space-time, drawing the void being's attention. We slumbered too long, waited too long to intervene. But you, humanity, you achieved something unprecedented. Isabella stepped closer to the hologram, watching the dark shapes move closer to their galaxy. We didn't just use your technology, she realized. We understood it, improved it. The quantum frequency generators we developed are more advanced than anything the Kryvax created in centuries of trying. The Guardian confirmed. You took our foundations and built something new. That is why we have chosen humanity to stand with us. The hologram shifted again, showing Earth and its colonies, now restored and enhanced with architect technology. Humanity had not only survived the Kryvax invasion, but emerged stronger, more unified, ready to face an even greater challenge. Kai interfaced with another data stream, his cybernetic eye glowing as he processed the information. The architects are offering us access to all their knowledge, their technology. But more than that, they're offering us a place among them, a chance to become guardians of the galaxy. Marcus studied the tactical displays showing the void beings advance. How long do we have? 50 years, perhaps less, the Guardian answered. Time enough to prepare, if we act now. The Kryvax will be contained, their stolen technology reclaimed. But we need humanity's innovation, your ability to see beyond established patterns. You achieved in months what other species could not in millennia. Diana thought of her crew aboard the Sentinel, of all the lives lost and sacrifices made. And the other species, the ones who fought beside us, will join us as well, the Guardian assured her. A new alliance, combining the wisdom of the architects with the strength and diversity of younger races. The void beings consume civilizations that stagnate, that cease to grow and change. Together, we can be something they have never encountered, a galaxy that fights back. The human leaders convened, discussing this new future that lay before them. They had evolved from a planetary civilization to an interstellar power in less than a year of desperate warfare. Now they were being offered the chance to help guard all of creation. Isabella's quantum calculations confirmed the Guardian's warnings. The void beings were coming, drawn by the Kryvax's reckless use of technology they never truly understood. But humanity had proven they could understand it, could innovate and adapt in ways that even the architects found remarkable. We accept, Marcus announced finally, speaking for all of humanity. But we have conditions. Earth and its colonies remain independent. We'll fight alongside the architects, but we maintain our own identity, our own way of doing things. The Guardian's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been amusement. We would expect nothing less. It is your independence of thought that makes you valuable allies. The void beings cannot be fought with ancient wisdom alone. They must be met with new ideas, new strategies. As the formal alliance was established, Diana walked to the Citadel's observation deck, looking out at the crystalline world that would become humanity's new forward base. The Sentinel floated in orbit alongside ships of the architects, already being upgraded with technology beyond her wildest dreams. Quite a view, Kai said, joining her. His cybernetic systems had been enhanced by architect technology, allowing him to perceive quantum states that normal humans couldn't comprehend. Hard to believe 6 months ago, we were fighting for survival in the ruins of our world. And now we're preparing to help save the galaxy, Diana smiled. The Kryvax thought they could break us. Instead, they forced us to become something greater than we ever imagined. The quantum alarm sounded, indicating another void being had been detected at the galaxy's edge. But this time, humanity didn't face the threat alone. As Diana returned to the Sentinel's bridge, she knew that the real story was just beginning. Humanity had not only survived their trial by fire, they had proven themselves worthy of joining the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. The war against the Kryvax had forged them into something new, something that combined human determination with architect wisdom. And the void beings would soon learn what that combination could achieve.